It struck me the other day when I was working on the Dirtywave M8 that I could do with some kind of memo, a kind of database to see what was what at any given moment, rather than drilling down through the machine to find out what was on the tracks. There will be a lot of people saying this isn't necessary, you can do everything like this on the machine, which is true, but I like to see what I've got on the tracks, and so I've devised this database, but not using numbers or Excel, but using pages. So it's the kind of Mac equivalent of Microsoft Word, and my wife did all the sort of clever stuff. I sort of gave her the ideas, and I've got two views of this. Now the song here is the demo one song that I'm using to teach the M8 on YouTube, and I've got two views. This very basic sounds per track view, where we've got the 8 tracks running across the top, and on the first 3 tracks I've used the sounds kick on track 1, on track 2 I've got snare and big snare, and on track 3 I've got hi-hats, and I've got plenty of spaces to add more sounds, more instruments in the future, and this can obviously be expanded. If I just click on this, you can see this can all be added to down here. So if I press the page down on my computer keyboard, it takes us to this view, which is the enhanced song chain view. Obviously a bit more interesting, a little bit more going on. You can see across the top the 8 tracks, and then for each track you've got the instruments used on those tracks. And like I said earlier, on track 2 I've used 2 instruments, the others I've only used 1. So on track 1 I've used instrument 01, it was a sampler and it was a kick. On track 2 I used instrument 02, a sampler and a snare, and instrument 03, a sampler and a big snare, as I named it. On track 3 I've got instrument 04, it was a sampler and it was hi-hats. You see, and obviously as I fill up 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8 I can fill in the details, and this can all be expanded. A bit lower down here we've got the chain row showing you which chain we're on. We've got a linear bar view. I'm not sure about this one. I'm going to use this because it's, you know, it's not exactly correct. If any of these chains are looping, it makes a bit of a mockery of a linear bar view, but we'll have to see how that works out. For chain 00, that's the first chain in the chain row, we've got track 1, and on that we've got chain 10, and inside chain 10 we've got 3 phrase 10s and 1 phrase 11. Now you can see on those phrases a little purple triangle in the corner. If I go to 10 here, and it brings up this little comment that I've made, that's why it says Les, and it's kick 4 on the floor. It just reminds me, if I need reminding, what's in that phrase, a kick drum 4 on the floor. Now phrase 11, the 4th phrase in this chain, is different. If I go to it, you'll see that it says kick drum variation, and then just to close the comment down, just move away from it, click somewhere else. So in track 2 we've got chain 20, 4 phrase 20s, and this, if we go to one of them, it's snare on 2 with reverb, big snare on 4 with delay. So beats 2 and 4, different snares, reverb and delay. So it's a little reminder to me what's in those phrases. On track 3, which is the hi-hats track at the moment, obviously you can have more than one instrument in a track, in a phrase, etc. So, you know, that's why I've made plenty of room up the top for more instruments. We've got chain 30, and inside chain 30 we've got 4 phrase 30s. Let's see what's in phrase 30, and it's a quaver hi-hat pattern, and I've got volumes of 64 and 44 alternating to give me a little bit of a human feel. And of course all these others are empty, because so far at this point in time I haven't put any instruments in these tracks. It's very early days with this song, and obviously this is all very easy to expand. So if I have chains that are longer than 4 phrases, that can be expanded, no problem at all. It's all very easy to do that. So there we are. I mean, you may be looking at this and thinking, what is the point? You can see all this on the M8 just by drilling down through the pages, through the views, but I like to see everything all at once. I think it's quite handy to be able to see what you've got in your song at any given point. And obviously, yes, you've got to enter in the data. It's not going to come up automatically. You know, this is a little bit cumbersome, I know. You've got to enter in the data as you go, but I think if you do it on a track by track basis, phrase by phrase basis, maybe at the end of a session just sort of type in your details, it's quite fun to keep it tidy like this. I think it could be quite useful. Anyway, if you think it might be useful to you, let me know, and I will make it available on my website as a download. Obviously it won't have all this stuff, and it'll just be the blank chart just saying track, instrument, number, type, name, chain, etc. And then you can fill in your own details. There we are. Thank you very much for watching. You'll see me in my next video.